Can we go back to your point about it, the impact it will have on rents? The idea has been sold to us that it will help with the cost of rents, that it will drive down the price of rents. There's no actual evidence of that, is there?
Well, the official advice is it will put downward pressure on rents, no doubt about it. And the reality is it's ultimately determined on the supply of rental properties available in the market. It's the same thing that happens when you buy a house. Well, that'll ultimately determine it. And so what we're doing is if you're a landlord and all of a sudden you've been slugged with a policy which was to remove interest deductibility, which is insane. It doesn't happen in any other business in the world or in New Zealand. You've added that cost on. You've just passed that straight through to your renter in higher rents. The same challenge has been with the bright line test as well. So we want to remove those costs that have been loaded onto landlords because they just go straight through to renters, Anna.
Well, I mean, you talk about other businesses, but other businesses pay tax on their profits and landlords don't pay tax on capital gains. So there's an argument to and fro, whichever way you look at it here. But if we look at rents in particular... Sorry, you're mixing the drinks. That is economically incoherent, what you just said. Yeah. You are comparing it to every other business and saying that landlords deserve the same sorts of benefits that we see in other sectors. But I'm asking you for the evidence... that rents will actually be impacted this. Even last year, a Treasury report from the Housing Technical Working Group, August last year, said wage inflation and supply and demand were the two biggest drivers. They don't even mention that interest deductibility is going to have the impact that you are promising it will have, people.
Well, this is interesting as well, because what he's promising is downward pressure. Right, and like you say, Chewy, how much by when is what we want to know. No one's asked that question, I think, yet. But what he says is downward pressure. As we said last night, downward pressure doesn't necessarily mean anyone's going to reduce rent, because we talked about the equal and opposite can often be true. The equal and opposite from downward pressure is more profits, right? Equal and opposite from downward pressure on renters is more money for landlords. And people aren't going to throw that away. People aren't going to just say, oh, here, tenants, you guys can keep that $100 a week. Landlords are gonna make more money, like National were accusing supermarkets of taking GST off fresh fruit and veggies. Anything quickly, Chewy?
No, carry on.
It's one aspect of it, Anna. We have to grow the economy. We've inherited an economy where it's actually declined in growth in the last 3 of the last 4 quarters. There's lots of things we have to do to get the economy.
Blame Labor.
Economy moving. This is one piece of it. The official advice we've received is to say that this will put downward pressure on rents, and that.
Official advice, when they like it, they'll use it. When official advice says you have an $800 million hole, I question your numbers. I question your numbers. Your numbers get questioned. Official advice, downward pressure. Official advice, downward pressure. Official advice, 800 million? No, not the case. Not the case. I don't see it. No.